Hey guys, we're live. Welcome back to the Kundalini Yogini. This is Prasiddha, and this is my lovely husband, Sri Nithyanandam, aka the Blissful Athlete, joining you from quarantine to answer some live questions and touch base with you guys. Hopefully, we're going to be going live a lot more in the next week or so because of quarantine. It's giving me at least much more time at home, which I'm normally not at the house very often. So I'm really grateful for this time and grateful to have Drita with me today. He's back from Canada. Thank God, because everyone's closing their borders now. So I'm really glad to have him back.
Made it just in time.
Yeah. So yes, if you guys have not yet checked out his channel, I know most of you guys already have, but if you haven't, give him some love. Share the love over there to my husband. So we're going to be going through some live questions right away, actually. So I had asked a few days ago on my Instagram, which is at Kundalini Yogini Prasiddha, I know it's a mouthful, what you guys wanted me to answer. And I'm going to go through some of those questions with Drita right now. So I got some really good questions. I think they'll be very interesting for you guys to hear and get a little insight into. If you have further questions, please let us know in the comments below once this video is posted live. We might have a little time to get to live questions. We'll play it by ear. This will probably be a shorter stream, about 20, 30 minutes max. So have a little patience with us. Sorry if we don't get to your questions or your content, but we'll do our best. So thank you for joining us, Laura, Gab, and Zarek. Hello, Nithyanandam. So we're going to start off. Drita, maybe you want to start us off? Yeah.
Right in the hot seat. Let's do it.
He's in the hot seat. Okay. So how about this? I thought you might like this one.
Okay.
So I got asked by Rachit Chopra. He asked how to get started on a YouTube channel about spirituality.
Ooh. Okay.
I thought you would like that one.
Yeah. The bottom line is just start. Okay.
Yeah.
Put a phone in front of you. Don't worry about technology. Don't worry about a microphone or anything. Even this microphone isn't all that great. This is a much better microphone than anything. And so right away, don't think about technology. Don't think about what am I going to talk about. If you're interested in starting a YouTube channel, it means that you're interested in enriching other people.
Mm-hmm.
And all that you need to do is just start sharing your story. And that's really how you and I started. We just started sharing and we just put our phone in front of us and said, hey, my name is Drita and this is my life story. And you know what? I always tell people, not too many people are going to watch right off the bat.
And that's okay.
And that's fine. However, the people that do watch those videos, or especially that first one where you're sharing your story, they're going to be interested, and there might be one or two people and you might give them a really powerful click, or they're definitely going to be curious to know about your journey if they're watching. And so just start. Don't worry too much about all the perfection and everything. Exactly.
That's what stops everybody.
The self-doubt is incredible. And then the amount of excuses that you can come up with, the amount of excuses that I hear from people that tell me they want to start a channel and whatnot. Oh, they just didn't have time to upload it. Or they just didn't, they wanted to edit it. Just literally, you can go live. I would actually recommend going live because then you don't need to edit.
You can't start live.
Okay, you can't start live. It's true. You need to wait until you get 1,000 subscribers. But basically, just start record, start talking, press end. Don't worry about editing right off the bat.
Yeah.
And what a lot of the pros say is just create 100 pieces of crappy content.
Yeah. And no, it sounds silly, but it's so true.
Yeah.
People worry more about quality than quantity, but in the world of social media, it's kind of more so about quantity. I mean, quality, of course, is important, but that most important to me in that context is authenticity. When it's coming to spirituality, if you're just being authentic, if you're just sharing your experiences and stories, things that have helped you, then that's going to come across to people. So just put yourself out there. Who cares if you stutter? Who cares if you fumble on your words? Who cares if you're not as smooth in the beginning? I mean, I look back at my first videos and I'm like, please, nobody watch this. This is embarrassing. But I also have to drop that because it's like, no, okay, who cares? This is awesome. Look how much I've grown and improved, right? That's what we should be looking at. So don't worry about being perfect. Just start, like Drita said.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Fun.
Thank you.
Who else we got there? You want to say hi while I'm going up the questions?
We got Little Miss Abundance. What an awesome name. Awesome name. Hello. Hugs from Long Beach. Carlos. Hugs right back. Farah, hello. Always great to see you. Uday, yes, we are in quarantine. Maja, love from Serbia. Awesome.
Ooh.
Laura saying hello from the Reed family. You got any questions coming up?
All right. So how did you find your spiritual calling? This is kind of a big question. So I was like, should I even read this one today? But we could just give it a go.
Well, you were like kind of forced into it.
Yeah.
So the way you came to Swamiji and the way I came to Swamiji are completely different.
Yeah, that's true. But I was not forced into it. Nobody can force me to do anything. Let me tell you that.
That's true. But what happened? Share the story a little bit.
Yeah, how it all fell together.
The 60-second story of how it happened.
Just that, I mean, most of you guys probably know this story, but that I was already on my seeking journey, and I was finally starting to be more open-minded and look into the spiritual path.
Devout and Catholic girl.
I finally was questioning everything that I had been told my whole life, which I never had done at that point in my life, believe it or not. I spent most of my life really in a trustful space of authority figures. And I started questioning that. And then my brother shared with me that he had found his guru. And I was like, huh? What's a guru? And you're telling me this guy is enlightened and an incarnation? What the heck? Like, Jesus is the only incarnation. I actually was like set in that belief because of my Catholic upbringing. And
them were fighting words.
Yeah, they were. And I was really kind of horrified that he even believed that. Like, it was like blasphemy to me. But something inside me, clearly, like my Paramashiva being, probably from my karma of why I really took this life, shone through. And I had the opportunity to go to India with him. I said yes. And from my logic, I was like,
your brother was pushing you hard to go.
Yeah.
Right?
And from my logic, I was thinking, okay, I'll be like a protective older sister. I'll make sure he's like taken care of and he's not getting into anything weird. And also, I always wanted to go to India. So my heart was like, yes, like India's been calling me since I was a little kid. Like, number one place in the world I wanted to go was India.
Because of the elephants.
Because of elephants. And deeper other things as well. Like so many little components, but elephants as well.
Elephants, yeah.
Anywho, mainly elephants. And I ended up getting on the plane and going. And that was the beginning. But what I would share is how you find your path is that surrender, in a sense. It's like, it's not an easy thing to be surrendered, but the more that we can do it, the more we actually get guided, because it opens the space up in our life for guidance to be given to us.
That's well said.
God, goddess, supreme consciousness, whatever you want to call it, source, does not guide you until you ask. Why? Because guess what? You were created with free will. And this is kind of common in every spiritual path. You have full free will. And so until you ask for signs, until you ask for interventions, until you ask for guidance, God is in so much unconditional love for you. He's like, do your thing. I'm not going to interfere until you ask. I'm not going to force it on you. So just like that, if you're in that space of openness in your heart, finally starting to take steps that way, your path unfolds, and everybody's path is very unique, but I think that's a great way to start.
Yeah. And I know you talked about Sadhguru. There's a Sadhguru question, and somebody also asked about, are you guys aware of inner engineering, which is, I believe, Sadhguru's program that you were referring to. Mm-hmm. And we are. And so Swamiji has Inner Awakening, Sadhguru has Inner Engineering. And how I came, just how Prasiddha was talking about how she came to Swamiji, my path was different. I started with Jesus's teaching. I was an atheist. So I started with Jesus's teachings, and I really did like his teachings, not everything, all the fluff around it, but just his core teachings. Then it kind of led me to the law of the golden rule. Everything you do to others, like, do to others as you would do unto yourself. And I saw that in so many different religions, and that kind of led me to Buddhism first. And then I started practicing Buddhism. And then that led me to eventually what I realized was Hinduism, but it was more like yoga, the concepts and the yogic path. And right away, it wasn't that I didn't jump straight to Swamiji. It was, I did come across Sadhguru, and I was watching him, and I was listening to him, and I thought his teachings are very profound. But for me, it was just, I wasn't done seeking there. There was another layer that I wasn't being fulfilled in. And so when I saw Swamiji, so when you listen to a really good podcast, you're like, hey, that was a good podcast, like a Lewis Howes or like anybody like that's just really positive and life impacting your life in a positive way. For me, I categorized Sadhguru kind of in that realm. And then when I came across Swamiji, it was like he gave me an experience right away where it was just like my consciousness was outside of my body and I was watching a video that was recorded. And so just for how I see Sadhguru, I think he's perfect for people that are satisfied with his teachings and love his teachings. But what I was saying to you before going on camera was that, if you have somebody that's speaking Tamil, you're not going to relate to them. You're not going to enjoy them as a teacher. You might not understand what they're saying. Yeah. But you might love, for instance, like athletics or a yogi or a guru that is really more focused in yoga. And so depending on what each guru is offering to the world and what their mission is, that might resonate with you in a different way. And
totally.
For me, it was just Swamiji.
Yeah, everything's as per your goals, right?
Exactly.
So I think that like often gurus that speak to the masses, that is what they're doing, right? Just like a president of the United States or other really celebrities or public figures that are really big. I think we do live in a time where sometimes stuff has to be watered down when it's spoken to large groups of people, because we're in such a politically correct time and a time where nobody wants to step on anybody's toes or to be strong in beliefs of cultures or religions. So I think that can kind of play itself out as well. So I'm very happy with having a guru that's not necessarily like massive to the masses yet, because it keeps it really real. Yeah. That's all I'll say on that note. But yeah, so I wanted to ask you also, got a good question from Sterling. Why eat Sattvic? Maybe you can share what is Sattvic, or I can, and then you can share why.
Okay, you set context first, and then I'll say why.
So Sattvic Diet, in case you have not heard of that, which is totally understandable, Sattvic Diet is kind of known as the yogic diet. It is also part of Ayurveda, but what it means is that it's a completely balanced diet in tastes and qualities. So sattva means balance or purity. It's not heavy in tamasic energy, which is this like lethargy and heaviness. Think about fried foods, oily foods, alcohol. Then rajasic, it's not heavy in rajasic either. Rajasic is like hyperactive, like coffee or chili peppers or Red Bull, something like this, right? So all these substances that fall into that category. So Sattvic Diet is the perfect harmony in the middle, where you get all the different tastes, you get all the different nutrients and qualities, but nothing is imbalanced. So why eat Sattvic, Drita?
From a physical standpoint, I'll speak on, and from having this athletic background and very much in depth in yoga and specifically the asanas and making this body manifest and hold the energy and the state of Paramashiva, you need a sattvic body. You need a well-prepared body to hold that bliss reign. And the best way to do that is through a sattvic diet. Like you'll notice if you go from, let's say, eating meat, drinking alcohol, and you start doing like an elimination diet, you'll start to notice like, okay, I'm taking out drinking. Oh my God, I feel so much better. Oh, I lost 10 pounds. Where did that come? Like all of a sudden you make these little changes and you'll notice exactly just that you're feeling better. And so the Sattvic diet is really interesting as far as you'll notice that if you've gone from the shift already to, let's say, you're vegetarian, or even vegan, or even vegan, and you start to focus on these little minuscule ingredients like garlic or let's say just too much sweet
or too much oil or an imbalance in any taste, really. And also especially involves like not fresh food. Frozen foods, pre-made foods, canned foods, leftovers, none of that's considered sattvic. But we won't go too deep into it, but I loved your point on that. And I think that's a great encapsulation of what it is. Again, I always love it referring to people, but we have a podcast. entirely about Saatvik Diet, and it really took us like over an hour to talk about all the details. So if you're very curious about it and how to start implementing it in its full form, check out our podcast on the Anandas, our joint YouTube channel. And then this question kind of relates as well, so I'll just lead into this one. Kelly Jarvis was asking me on Instagram how to avoid overeating. So I think it kind of it plays into this in a way, you know? Any thoughts? Or do you want me to share?
I mean, I would say right away to practice and incorporate Nirahara Samyama.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would lean towards, but if you don't know what Nirahara Samyama is, it's a liquid diet process. It's a journey of going beyond food where you're focusing on just consuming liquids. So the first 2 days, you're consuming only liquids. Day 3, you can consume solid foods. Then you go another 7 days of liquids and then solid food. And then you finish the remaining of the 21 days on liquids. And it is an extremely eye-opening process because have you ever gone to a party and there's a big table of snacks in front of you, and let's say you just made the decision that I'm not going to snack today, but all of a sudden your hand goes in there and it grabs something and it puts it into your mouth unconsciously. That happens all the time.
Yeah, with food in general.
Yeah, so I highly recommend the process of Nirahara Samyama because it's all about taking you beyond food and beyond your patterns.
Yeah, it's like a nice restart, and it detoxes your body so you're actually aware, because that's the biggest thing I would share is the toxification is what causes overeating. Because if you are actually in tune with your body and with your mind, you don't overeat. And the simplest way, the 2 solutions I would give on top of Nirahara, which I think is a great solution, is Saatvik Diet also, because Saatvik Diet is already balanced in nature. When we eat too much of one flavor or taste, we tend to overeat. Why? Because our body wants the other taste, but it's not getting it. So we don't feel satisfied. We continuously eat like salty chips. You just keep eating more and more chips because you're not getting a balanced diet. So the different nutritional qualities that come with different ranges of taste, like sour, sweet, salty, bitter, astringent, pungent, all of these tastes have nutrients that come along with them in different qualities. So we need them all. So Saatvik Diet is a great start. Number 2 is engaging your senses. One of, if not the biggest reason we overeat, because we are not present with the food we're eating. We are not present in the meditation of consuming food. What that means is usually our eyes can be distracted. We're watching a TV show. We're watching the football game on TV while we're eating. Our ears can be distracted. Everyone around us is talking and we're engaged in a huge conversation at a group dinner table. Our mouth is engaged. Yeah. We're actually talking to other people in the midst of eating. We're doing other things with our hands. We're typing on our laptop and reading a book while we're eating. All these different distractions really take us out of awareness for our food. And so, especially when we don't eat with our hands and when we're engaged in other activities, naturally we are not in a conscious place when it comes to eating. So a great way to start, 1, start eating with your hands. Use your hands, don't use utensils. It's a really great way to engage with your food because you feel it. You engage with that sense of touch. Then all the other senses start coming together. Try to eat in a quiet, neutral space that you aren't talking to other people if you can. Like really, it's so much better, even if you all come to a collective agreement not to talk while you're eating. This is a very common thing in other countries like India. It's actually usually quiet when people are eating, which is weird because in the US, it's like, oh, this is awkward. It's embarrassing. That's a normal thing because we're supposed to be engaging with the food. So all these healthy habits you can start to implement.
Yeah. You have another question?
Go ahead. I have a lot more, but if you think something's important, go for it.
Okay, so somebody asked about a shower filter that we'd recommend. So this is kind of switching gears a bit, but so Prasiddha and I, we don't really talk about it too much, but we actually do have a Kangen water machine. And the reason why we don't talk about it as much is just because there's this sense of like, I don't know, not too many people really believe in the whole system of Kangen water. If you don't know much about Kangen water, this isn't going to be a talk about that or anything. Check it out on your own. But we really do believe in its benefits. Yeah. And I even saw a video the other day of somebody, they took a glass of water and they put it under a tap, regular tap water, and then they put some sort of solution in the water. Mm-hmm. She put her hand in the water and then took her hand out, and the solution was basically showing the chlorine that's in there. Mm. After she put her hand in the water and then took it out, she showed the solution, and it was like clear, like the chlorine was gone
on her body
because it's now in her body. She just put her hand a little bit into this cup, left it there for a few seconds, and the body absorbs all that chlorine. And so as far as what are you putting into your body is so important, especially, I mean, right now, a lot of people aren't going to have access to clean, fresh water. In the US, like tap water contains something like 300 different contaminants. Yep. So we have a tripled filtered system. Then it goes into a Kangen water machine. Mm-hmm. What I would recommend for a shower is also having a filter that is triple filtered, and Kangen also has a shower for that. Yeah, a specific shower head. I would seriously consider that. Or if you already have or if you already have something in mind, I definitely recommend. Swamiji's constantly talking about keeping your body detoxified and all the heavy metals out. So it is something that's really important. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Okay, somebody else asked, do you think you'll be able to fully self-realize in this lifetime? So it's obviously towards me, but I think it applies to everyone. I believe so.
I know. Answer it for yourself.
I would just wanted to say, for me, this is kind of a short answer. The answer is yes, because from what I've understood about enlightenment through my guru's teachings and through the teachings of the tradition of Hinduism, of Sanatana Dharma, is absolutely enlightenment is a decision. It's a very strong decision. I mean, even if you hear the story of Buddha, right? Buddha, literally how he got enlightened, he had been trying and trying and trying for years and years and years to meditate his way into enlightenment. The second he sat down under a tree and just said, I won't get up until I'm enlightened, he got enlightened.
Yeah.
Just by that strong decision. So that's my understanding of it. So I'm not attached to any result of, reaching enlightenment or calling myself enlightened. That's obviously, I don't think, any part of the true spiritual path to be on social media proclaiming that. No, we don't care about that. We care about actually being in that space for ourselves, for our own growth. And I do believe with a living master and with a strong will and decision and aligning yourself to that, it's absolutely possible for each and every one of us.
And to be honest, just because we have Swamiji as our guru, I did nothing to deserve like this experience of super consciousness. And Swamiji gifted me an experience of enlightenment where I was just frozen in bliss. My whole body, every time I bring it up, she was like, oh my God, this story again. The greatest moment of my life, though, because it was who we are in our true nature. And that's eternal, wild, overflowing bliss in every cell, every pore of your body. And it was just gifted to me. My guru just gave it. Like I didn't do anything. I just had, my body was prepared for it. And so without a doubt, I would say, yes, it will happen to me, but it won't be anything of my doing. I'll be doing my best to be integrated to my guru and his teachings. And as long as I do that, I know he's going to take me the rest of the way. Yeah.
That's so true. That's beautiful. Thank you. We have still, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize how many questions I still had. So we probably will have to do a part 2 to this video, I think.
Okay.
But maybe we can do like 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
So thank you guys for tuning in still. I'm sorry we haven't gotten to any of the live questions. We will definitely keep doing that. I normally do that in my live streams. I normally take only live questions from the comments. But I wanted to address my Instagram questions as well, since people had submitted there as well. So next question. Has your faith ever faltered, and how did you find it again? I like this question a lot. Has your faith ever faltered?
In myself or my guru, or? I'm
guessing, I think it applies to all dimensions of life in yourself, right?
Yeah, I think for me, I would say absolutely. It falters in the form of self-doubt, which is just a result of mind, which is not my true existence. So I'll doubt myself in certain things, and I'll maybe doubt myself so much that that's a falter in my own faith. But as far as like questioning whether Swamiji can gift me or support me in any way, I've never questioned or doubted my faith in Swamiji. It's only been in myself, which blocks my relation with him.
Yeah. I think we all, like, that's the thing. that's all I would answer. Is not even about me answering my own experience. It's like, I think it's important to know everybody goes through crises of faith. That's, I think, part of the human condition. Yeah. I really feel like, and I think it's also very fundamental and very important in our spiritual growth and our connection and relationship to ourself and the divine, because without that, we don't learn a lot. I think going through the ups and downs, it gives us a lot of perspective. It gives us a lot of wisdom through experience. And I think it's important to appreciate those lows and darknesses as well, because they teach us so much. They teach us so much about ourselves. That's been my experience for sure. Next question. How to start yoga for beginners? I think we can answer this one pretty easily.
Well, you need to learn yoga from the source.
Yeah.
And the best way to learn yoga from the source, Swamiji's put a book together, and it's 1,008 different scriptural references on yoga, on yogic diet, whether it's asanas, bandhas, pranayamas, mudras, all 12 components of yoga. Swamiji's put a book together as a free PDF. I would highly recommend to anybody to start reading that from a reading standpoint, or from an intellectual standpoint.
Yeah.
But the best way is always to just start,
to
just practice, to get on the mat, get your body moving, and start exploring that dimension of yourself. The Pratama Vinyasa Krama is I always start off by saying, yes, it's a complicated series. It's 108 different asanas. There's 12 components to each asana, not each asana, but almost all of the asanas. And so much might feel like it's happening in your inner space, but it's designed to be that way, especially in today's world where our mind's constantly going all over the place. It really does bring your being completely into this moment. And you don't need to worry too much about, am I doing it right? Just following along and just starting.
Yep. I would say the same thing. I would say start with, in terms of self-education and actually learning about yoga, which is not yoga asana, not yoga poses, but the whole entire path of yoga. Read the Nithyananda yoga book, which we'll give you the link to. It's in also so many of my video descriptions that I talk about yoga in. And also start reading the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. It's a great introduction as well, because he kind of sums up, he was an enlightened sage. He just sums up a lot of the ancient yogic information in one book, which is really easy, is a good little introduction, I think. And I really like the translation by Swami Satchidananda. You can also watch Nithyananda, our guru, Paramahamsa Nithyananda, his translations of the Yoga Sutras on YouTube, which are video versions. So if you prefer a video version, listen to those. It gives you a lot of depth about the yogic practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think we can end on that question for today.
Okay.
Man, I have so many questions left. So guys, for those of you that did not get your question answered, please send them in again. I think maybe even tomorrow we can go live again and do a part 2.
Okay.
If that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's cool. Is it cool
you got
with
any other plans?
Cool with you?
Are you going to go to the
movies? Be quarantined? Are you going to be out in the movies?
You're going to go to the movies?
Yeah.
You're going to be at a game? Or are you going to be home with me? So we will go live again tomorrow and we'll finish the Q&A. I still have some Instagram questions, but then we will also take a lot of live questions. So for those of you guys that didn't get your question answered, thank you for your patience again. We will answer your questions tomorrow. Love you guys. I hope that you are enjoying this time with yourselves, with your family members, staying safe and healthy. Take care of your immune systems. Watch my video on immunity if you don't know how to do that. Follow Drita for some awesome yoga and liquidarian content. And we will see you guys on the next video. Any last words?
Be blissful.
Nithyanandam,
everybody.